Hello traders, this is Anthony. Welcome to this video. So today is on Monday. Let me first of all start by apologizing for not making this video yesterday, because you know very well we do our top-down analysis on Sundays, but unfortunately yesterday I was quite busy. I didn't get time to make this video, but I believe it's not late and we can do our analysis today, because we are just starting a week. So in our today's analysis, I have few pairs with me that I would like us to do analysis. And for me to make this video not to be quite long, I'm going to focus on the index pairs. What I mean by index pairs, I mean, you know very well for the dollar pairs, we do majorly focus on DXY. If you want to know where the dollar pairs is heading to or reacting from, you wanna do analysis on the DXY. So this is the index for dollar pairs, and then if you like to trade the yen pairs, I will do the analysis on JPY basket, because this is the index for the yen pairs. So you can see here, you can see very clearly. For this pair JPY basket, this index predicts what will happen on yen pairs. So in other words, it's just a driver for the yen pairs. Same to DXY. So DXY is just a driver for the dollar pairs. So starting from DXY, you can see here we are on a weekly time frame. Remember, we are starting a week, so it's good to start a week. It's good to look for a higher time frame, that is a weekly time frame, for us to get a clean picture of where we are heading to or where we are reacting from. So from our previous top-down analysis, we saw very clearly the market is reacting from this indecision candle down here as our demand zone. That's where we saw a reaction from. And then there is something we saw very nice. We saw that market swept liquidity below this low. You can see this long wick to the downside. We saw very clearly we had a sweep of liquidity, and from that, after we saw that sweep of liquidity, we concluded that then, that is the previous last week, we were expecting a bullish week, and you can see very clearly that one happened as we predicted. We had a bullish week. So me going down to 1 hour daily time frame, you can see very clearly also in the daily time frame, you can see we had a sweep of liquidity. Then we are expecting to see a bullish market. So there is something that I said here. Can see very clearly we have some kind of liquidity that was left by the market here. You see here we had some kind of a trend line liquidity. So the only high that market took out is this high. So we also have this open high, this one, and also this high. And we can see from the daily time frame, we had a change of character here. So we have a change of character. So that means we are bullish. So we are expecting all this I to be taken out. And also this I should be our, the last target is our external liquidity. So this I also has to be taken out according to the structure that you can see right here. Now, what are we expecting for this week? Now, there is something I mentioned here very clearly. There is something I said here. We said we are expecting this I to be taken out. If you remember very clearly from our previous analysis, we said that although this I is a strong I, and here we had a point of interest, we had a supply zone here or an order block right here, and we have a break of structure to the downside. This is a very strong high. This was a strong high. Though we had this order block here, I told you guys, now that the market is reacting from the higher time frame, market grab liquidity from the higher time frame area here, this low here. So we were not expecting this high to hold the market. I told you guys, wait for the market to break this high. If we get a break of this high, then that one will confirm to us now that we are bullish. And you can see very clearly the market on last week, on Thursday, we had this break of structure to the upside. Now we got our change of character. You can see very clearly we have a change of character within this area. Now, after getting that change of character, where do you expect a reaction from? Now, if I can go to daily time frame, you can see very clearly in the daily time frame, we have this nice order block down here. We have a very good order block down here. Although now we have a problem because we don't have any liquidity within this area. So market can decide to sweep this low and maybe react from this order block. We still have another order block here from the daily time frame. So market can decide to sweep this low, then start to push from there. That's why now you need a confirmation if the market will come down to this order block down there. That is the order block from the daily time frame. Now, it's just a matter of waiting and see what the market will do. Because if I can pick my Fibonacci from the swing high to the swing low, you see that this point of interest here is seated at 50% of our Fibonacci retracement too. So it is a very valid point of interest. So we'll just wait for the market to come here. Remember, this point of interest comes from the daily time frame. So, and we don't have to take an aggressive entry from this area. So we'll wait for the market to retrace to this point of interest. And if we get confirmation from here now, we'll take a buy to the upside. Now, what is my conclusion? My conclusion is that we should be looking for sales on the dollar pairs. Remember, someone is asking, why should we be looking for sales and here we have a change of character, we should be buying. Remember, these index pairs, for the index pair that is DXY, if the DXY is bullish, we are expecting the dollar pairs to be bearish. We just do the opposite of what is happening currently here. So if this DXY is bullish, we go bearish on the dollar pairs. So that is my bias. I'm expecting to see a reaction from this area going upside, because down here we can't see anything. Everything is mitigated. This order block here was mitigated down here, and down here we don't have any other order block. So this is the only order block that is visible here from the 4-hour time frame. So we are expecting a retracement to this order block, then we buy from here. Now that we have the analysis on index, so let me go to Euro USD and also the GBP USD and see what we have right there. Now looking at the Euro USD, let me start from the daily time frame. Euro USD is contradicting with what we are having on DXY, because from what we are having on DXY, we are expecting to see a selling dollar pairs. We're expecting to see us selling pressure here, but from the daily time frame on Euro USD, we had a break of structure here. And remember, I told you now we have a lot of open liquidity left down here, the same thing that we are having on the DXY. So I'm expecting to see all these lows to be taken out. Now let me go to 4-hour time frame and see what we have right there. So from the 4-hour time frame, so this was the last break of structure. If you can see very clearly, this was the last break of structure. That was the last break of structure before this external liquidity was taken out. And you can see on last week, this low was taken out. Remember, whenever we have an external structure being taken out, we said we are expecting the market to take like 102 structures, the internal structures, or we are expecting, sorry, we are expecting at least one of the internal structure to be taken out. Let me correct that point. We are expecting one of the external structure to be taken out. At least one, let me use the word at least one of the internal structure to be taken out before the continuation move. But now, this is why you need to do analysis on DXY. I'm not expecting a bullish Euro USD. I'm expecting a bearish Euro USD from what we have seen from the DXY, because it is most probably that the Euro USD is going to follow what the DXY is going to do. And we have this sweep of liquidity. This low was swept, although in the DXY we saw a change of character here, the market structure shift. So I'm expecting to see some retracement to this area. Remember, this is the, if I can go to the daily time frame, we'll see that this is the order block that we have marked from the DXY. So this is the order block. Let me call it supply. So I'm expecting a retracement to this order block. Then from here, I will look for sales to the downside. So that is the analysis that I'm having on Euro USD. Let me go to GBP USD. In fact, the GBP USD is the cleanest pair. It's the one that is showing us it is having a clean setup from what we are having on a DXY, because from the DXY we saw we are bullish and we are expecting to have a bearish analysis or bearish bias on the dollar pairs. So here we had a change of character here, and the market reacted from this extreme supply zone or the order block. So we said from our previous analysis we are expecting to see a bearish uh GBP USD. Now, if I go to the lower time frame, because you want to see if you are having any setup from the lower time frame. I don't know where is my alpha. My internet is hanging. Okay. So this is what we have on the lower time frame. So this is the last, we had this market structure shift here to this supply zone from the higher time frame. Then from here you can see the momentum from this order block is very strong, pushing to the downside. So this is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting to see a reaction from this supply zone from the daily time frame. Because if I can go down to the 1 hour time frame, you can see clearly that we have a small pullback here, and you also have a small pullback. So market swept this liquidity before pushing to the downside. So this high here is a strong high, and this is our liquidity here. So I'm expecting to see reaction from this order block from the daily time frame. You can see very clearly this is an order block from the daily time frame. So I'm expecting to see a reaction from there, and that is where I will be looking for sales, while if I have a good confirmation from this area. So that is my bias on GBP USD. So now if you like to trade the yen pairs, let me do the analysis on APY basket, starting from the weekly time frame. What do we see? You can see very clearly we are bearish on JPY basket. This one is, even a child can see that this is a bearish market. We are very bearish on JPY basket. Now, am I going to focus on what is happening back here? This is history and it's not important for me if I would like to take a trade currently. So what do I have here? This is the last break of structure. On the weekly time frame, we have a strong break of structure here, because swap liquidity here. We also have market retraced back because there was no any good valid pullback here. That's why market had to come back and swap this high here, and from there you can see now we are trending bearish from there. Now let me just go down to daily time frame. From the daily time frame, I'm just going to focus to what is happening currently here, because remember we are intraday traders, so we need to look for setups for a week, so I don't have to rely to what is happening on a weekly time frame so much. Now going down to the daily time frame, you can see very clearly here we had a sweep of liquidity, then market induced this high, so this high was taken out. Then on last week we saw this push to the downside and the market broke the structure. So that means now this high here is our protected high and this low here is our targeted low. Now after the market takes out the external structure, we are expecting the market to take at least one of the internal structures. And you can see very clearly here from the daily time frame, there is no any clean point of interest for us to target. Market left a lot of open liquidity here. We have some kind of trend line liquidity here. So we are expecting the market at least to retrace and take out uh, this liquidity before now starting to push to the downside. Going to 4-hour time frame, I want us to look for any structure, any point of interest. So starting from here, you can see here we have an extreme point of interest here. This is an order block. This week here did not tap to this order block, so we have an extreme point of interest there. And looking down here, we don't have any other point of interest. We have this order block which was mitigated by this high. So the only other pure high, it is this order block here. We have this order block here from the 4-hour time frame. Sorry, that is not a demand, it's a supply. We have that order block. And this is a strong order block since swap liquidity above all this high before pushing to break the structure here. So we might see a reaction from this area. Although now, remember now the market took out the external structure here. So this order block is most probably going to be violated. And if we can pick our Fibonacci place from the swing high to the swing low, you can see very clearly this supply zone is seated at the discount, and this is not a good area for us to look for sales. We are expecting the market at least to come to the premium, and from this area now we can look for sales. So this is not a good area for us to look for sales. At least wait for the market to come to at least 50%. Then from here we can look for sales. So the only thing that you can look for, it's a buy from down here. If you get a good, but this, it's a very risk trade. If you look for buys from here, that means you are looking for a counter trends and it's very risky. So you should, if you have to look for that, you should apply a proper risk management, bearing in mind that the counter trend is a very risky setups and there is a very high chances that they're going to fail. So if you take that trade, you should be aware of that. So we have this supply zone. Although this supply zone is a low probability supply zone, we don't expect it to hold, but you can have a small reaction from there before market breaks that high because it's a strong high. Now, knowing that we are bearish on a JPY basket, that means we should be looking for sell setups, not sales, but buy setups. We are bearish here, we should be bullish. We are bearish here, we should be bullish on JPY Yang pairs. But currently, we are having this bullish retracement on the JPY basket. So we can have a bearish retracement on the yen pairs. Now there is a setup that I was looking for on GBP JPY. There is a setup that I was looking for GBP JPY. Let me go down to 1 hour time frame. So from the 1 hour time frame, we saw very clearly we had a sweep of this low. The market pushed to the upside, induced this high. Then we had a break of structure. Then later on, we saw this change of character. So we are expecting to have a reaction from this area. And you can see very clearly market reacted from this area. So from our previous, there is something I shared on my group on Telegram. I had marked this order block here from the daily time, from the 4 hour time frame. This is the order block that I had marked the last sell before, the last buy before the sell. And we had a reaction from that order block here. The market gave us a change of character. If we go down to the 30 minutes, we had a change of character down here, because you can see we have a sweep of liquidity, then a break of structure. Later on, we had a change of character. So we were looking to sell from this area on Friday. I think it was on Friday. Yeah, we were looking to sell from this area, and this order block was a strong. This was a strong high. That's why you can see market came to this area and tried to react from this area. You see, we had a small reaction, but now that means market was not ready to sell from this area. So market pushed up and cleared more liquidity before now we have the reaction. And you can see very clearly we are having a very strong reaction now after market came to this point of interest. Now, if you go to forward still, you can see here we had an open, an extreme. If you can do what? If you can refine it, you can see we have this last candle here. And that's why you can see market had to push back and mitigate this order block now. After that order block, mitigation of that order block, you can see this strong momentum today pushing to the downside. So I'm expecting this low to be taken out. So I was looking forward to take a trade from this area, but unfortunately the market has not retraced to this order block. I was looking to take a trade from here, and this could have been a very nice trade, but unfortunately market never retraced to this area here, and my target was this low. And you can see very clearly, guys, my analysis is always my strategy is always the same. I don't change anything. I always look at the same thing every time I come to the charts. You can see here we have a sweep of liquidity before push to break the structure. That is only what I look for, guys. We have the sweep of liquidity before break of structure, and this is my order block, and you had liquidity here. If you can go to 5 minutes time frame, you can see that one very clearly. We have sweep of liquidity, a break of structure. Market left this liquidity, so this was my point of interest. So I was expecting the market to come to this place, then I take a trade targeting this low. But unfortunately, market seems like it's going to hit our take profit before triggering us, which is also fine. I'm used to that. I'm also used to that. So currently I don't have any setup on GBP JPY. So let me go to Euro JPY. Let me go to Euro JPY. Euro JPY, by the way, last week we had very nice setups. I also shared the one of the trade that I took on my Telegram group. So if you would like to join the Telegram group, I will also leave a link to my channel. You can find the link on the channel on the description of this video, and you can join the group. So from this one, remember from the basket, we have seen that we are bearish from the basket. So we are expecting to be bullish here on the yen pairs. And if I can look from the 4 hour time frame, if I can look from the 4 hour time frame, you can see very clearly here we have a break of structure. We are having a break of structure here. Guys, my internet